This week for my reading challenge, I finished reading the book The Optimistic Child by Martin Seligman. This book was published in 1995. Martin Seligman is famous for, within psychological circles, he's famous for his studies on learned hopelessness, but he's been quite influential within the realm of positive psychology. This book talks a lot about his studies that he did in a program he did for the pen prevention program. The idea behind it, which was to create an inoculation for children against depression. A lot of it is based in cognitive behavioral therapy, which is very commonly used for people who have depression. When I picked this book up, I was a little bit disappointed that the studies are more focused on preteens and adolescent children than it is younger kids, because my daughter's a bit younger. But there is a chapter at the end of the book for toddlers and preschool children as well, which was quite useful. So you can't use the same assessments and the same exercises to help younger children, but they have a different structure. There's a pyramid structure that he uses to help younger children, so I thought that was quite interesting. I have a few interesting excerpts I want to read really quickly, mostly to do with resilience and participation culture and self-esteem. So the first one is, we were surprised by what we saw in the public schools, though we probably should not have been, because what we saw just reflects the way most parents of the boomer vintage are now raising their children. Armies of American teachers, along with American parents, are straining to bolster children's self-esteem. That sounds innocuous enough, but the way they do it often erodes children's sense of worth. By emphasizing how a child feels at the expense of what a child does, mastery, persistence, overcoming frustration and boredom, and meeting challenge, parents and teachers are making this generation of children more vulnerable to depression. So I thought that was quite shocking, really, and quite interesting. So the next section I want to read. Children need to fail. They need to feel sad, anxious, and angry. When we impulsively protect our children from failure, we deprive them of learning the 606 skills. So the 606 skills is 605 times of failure particular development of medication experience before the 606 successful version. When they encounter obstacles, if we leap in to bolster self-esteem, to soften the blows and distract them with congratulatory ebullience, we make it harder for them to achieve mastery. If we deprive them of mastery, we weaken self-esteem just as certainly as if we had belittled, humiliated, and physically thwarted them at every turn. So I speculate that the self-esteem movement in particular, and the feel-good ethic in general, had the untoward consequence of producing low self-esteem on a massive scale. By cushioning feeling bad, it has made it harder for our children to feel good and to experience flow. By circumventing feelings of failure, it made it more difficult for our children to feel mastery. By blunting warranted sadness, and anxiety, it created children at high risk for unwarranted depression. By encouraging cheap success, it produced a generation of very expensive failures. If you're interested in this book, it's at the public library in town, in Whangarei. If you're interested in positive psychology courses and studies of depression, there's a really excellent course for free online on YouTube through the Harvard School of Positive Psychology, so check it out.